What's up my peeps, it is now time for the Hell in a Cell prediction game video. The pay-per-view is this Sunday. We're having 3 Hell in a Cell matches, which is the most we've had since 2009 when the pay-per-view first got introduced. And we're having a women's Hell in a Cell match for the very first time. It also could be the main event. See, here's the thing, they announced it initially on Facebook, or Mick Foley announced it as the main event. But then it seems like they backtracked a bit, and they were like, maybe it's not going to be the main event, we're not sure. So Mick Foley was trying to say that, hey, whatever match you guys feel is the main event is the main event. No, it doesn't work that way. You know that most people refer to the main event as pretty much the last match on the card, and that to most people is the main event. That's what we've been used to for the longest amount of time, except I guess for No Mercy. But also, if you look at No Mercy and if you ask the people what was the No Mercy main event, a lot of people will tell you that it was Randy versus Bray, and they'll also tell you what's up with that. It should have been Dolph versus The Miz, which I agree, Dolph versus The Miz should have ended that show. But anyways, they're advertising as a triple threat main event, you know, speaking about the Rusev versus Roman Reigns match, the Sasha versus Charlotte match, and Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Now, if you were to ask me which one should close out the show, at this point I'd say the World Title match, the Universal Championship match, because it is the World Title match for Raw. It's the biggest championship match, and at this point, with them backing away from saying that, you know, Sasha versus Charlotte is the main event, they're obviously not sure about it. They're not sure if they're going to close out the show with that. They're not sure if it's a good idea. So I say, look, if you're not sure about it, just don't do it. Do it some other time when you're sure that this program with the women is really good, that, hey, it can main event the show, it can close out the show. But when it comes to which of the 3 warrants being inside Hell in a Cell the most, I say it's Roman versus Rusev. That's the most personal feud out of the 3. But as far as the main event, I think at this point they should just close it out with Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Moving on, time to give my shoutouts to the winners of the last prediction game. These 3 people got every single match right. They got all their predictions right for No Mercy, and they are the Gaming Newsome, Brady Hickman, and Raymond Bright. Congrats to you guys. I didn't count the Alexa Bliss versus Naomi match because that was a replacement match. If you guys want to check out their channels, I will link each one of these guys' channels in the description box. So, let's get started with the prediction game. If you're new to this, simply leave your predictions for every single match on the card in the comments section below, of course, before the pay-per-view. And if you get them right, you get a shout out at the next prediction game. So let's get started with the predictions, and of course we're going to start it off with the kickoff match. It is a 6-man tag team match involving some Cruiserweights. Cedric Alexander, Lince Dorado, and Cara team up to take on Tony Nese, Drew, and Daivari. Now, we haven't seen much of Daivari on TV, and when it comes to Drew, I mean, we've seen him on TV, but I don't think we've seen him win a match yet. So here, I'm going to go with the face team, mainly because, like I said, we don't have much to go off of here. It's not like this is a feud or anything like that. And usually in the kickoff match, when it's a match like this, where it's not necessarily a feud, the faces tend to win. And in this case, like I said, we haven't seen much of Daivari, and Drew doesn't have the best win-loss record since, you know, appearing on Raw. So, I'm gonna go with Cedric, Lince Dorado, and Cara. Moving on to Dana Brooke versus Bayley. So, Bayley, just like Sami Zayn, is an underdog character, and underdog characters don't tend to win too much. And right here, I don't see Bayley getting a title shot really soon, so she doesn't necessarily need, like, you know, pay-per-view win or anything like that. While Dana Brooke, on the other hand, I could actually see her being possibly the next challenger for the Women's Championship. Because right now, when it comes to possible challengers for the Women's title, it's pretty limited. Of course, Emma's going to come back, but once she comes back, I'm not sure if she's going to go ahead and get a title shot right away. So if she's not, assuming she doesn't get a title shot right away, I think it might just be Dana Brooke. And I don't think Nia Jax is getting a title shot, like, at the next pay-per-view either. So, for that reason, my pick for this match is Dana. And then we've got the New Day defending their tag team titles against Cesaro and Sheamus. And this one's real easy for me. I'm gonna go with the New Day. See, I don't think the New Day are going to lose the tag team titles until they surpass Demolition's reign. It seemed very likely that the New Day were going to go ahead and surpass Paul London and Brian Kendrick as the longest reigning tag team champions, or longest reigning WWE tag team champions. And they did. And then they went ahead and passed a full year as tag team champions, 365 days. And now we've got the next obstacle, which is the longest reigning tag team champions period in the WWE by surpassing Demolition's reign, and they've been bringing that up a lot on TV, which makes me think even more that they're going to surpass it. And Demolition right now isn't really on good terms with the WWE with that lawsuit, which I've mentioned before, so that's even more of a reason to go ahead and give that accomplishment to the New Day. In the past, when superstars have left, maybe not on the best terms, WWE has went ahead and, whatever accomplished they've done, had somebody else that's currently in the company surpass that. For instance, when Brock Lesnar was the youngest reigning champion or world champion, they had Randy go ahead and become the youngest reigning world heavyweight champion. And when AJ Lee was the longest reigning Divas champion, she left, and then Nikki Bella became the longest reigning Divas champion. You get the point. So as far as Cesaro and Sheamus all of a sudden getting along and winning the tag team titles, I don't see it happening, and especially not when they got a non-title tag team win over the New Day on Raw. So, New Day is my pick for this one. And now, speaking of tag teams, Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson. And I'm going to use some of the same logic that I used for Bayley versus Dana Brooke here. I'm looking at if any of the superstars in this match could be in line for a title shot soon. And in this case, between the two teams, I think if anybody's going to get a title shot soon, it's going to be Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows. And I know they've gotten one already. And they've lost, twice to the New Day when it comes to tag team championship matches. But I still have this feeling that Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson will win the tag team titles off the New Day once they go ahead and surpass Demolition's reign as longest reigning tag team champions. Unless they really drag on the Cesaro and Sheamus tag team and have them win the tag team titles later on once that, accomplishment is reached by the New Day. But either way, I feel in this match we're going to see Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows pick up the win. They need the win here after that series of losses against the New Day for the tag team titles. And on top of that, when it comes to Enzo and Big Cass, just like I was saying about Bayley, I feel like if they're going to get a championship match, it's going to be at WrestleMania, or close to WrestleMania time. So they've got, some time to go ahead and build up momentum later on. Anyways, moving on to the next match, we've got TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick, and I actually think this is going to be the title change of the night. Not saying that every single pay-per-view needs to have a title change or will have a title change, but in this case, I actually think Brian Kendrick is going to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Something that happened on Raw, which is very unlikely of the WWE, is they actually had the challenger, Brian Kendrick, in this case, lose to Rich Swann on Raw. The challenger, not the champion. See, it's common to have the champion lose in non-title matches. They do that prior to the pay-per-view. Oftentimes, it's to go ahead and bring up a new number one contender. But in this case, the challenger lost. And then on top of that, you have Brian Kendrick begging TJ Perkins to let him win, trying to make him feel sorry for Brian Kendrick. And I feel like that might just lead to TJ Perkins losing the match. He might at some point in the match feel sorry for Daniel Bryan, and not Daniel Bryan, Brian Kendrick, and then Brian Kendrick takes advantage of that, hits sliced bread or the captain's hook, makes him tap, whatever, wins the match by taking advantage of that, and becomes a new Cruiserweight champion. I mean, after all, Brian Kendrick is the man with a plan, and the reason why they probably had Rich Swann beat Brian Kendrick in the first place is so that once Kendrick wins the Cruiserweight championship, he's already got another challenger other than TJ Perkins. He could go ahead and defend the title against Rich Swann because he's got a non-title win over him, or it could be a triple threat at the next pay-per-view, TJ versus Rich Swann versus Brian Kendrick. But anyways, going with Kendrick on this one. And then the Hell in a Cell women's match, Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. I'm going to go with Sasha Banks on this one. Charlotte has pretty much taking on all possible challengers when it comes to her championship run. And when we look at the potential challengers for Charlotte, it's a very small list. Sasha Banks has a slightly larger list of challengers that could take her on, like Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, and Emma, because I'm pretty sure Emma is returning as a heel. With those video packages, I feel like she has to return as a heel. So, just looking at the challengers, I feel like this points to Sasha Banks winning the match. And the title has, gone back and forth between Sasha and Charlotte. I think it's time to have a solid championship run for a good couple of months now. So I say Sasha picks up the win here and ends Charlotte's undefeated streak on pay-per-view, or at least undefeated one-on-one streak, because she lost a tag team match with Dana Brooke. And I just hope, this Hell in a Cell match delivers. I hope they don't take it too light. That's what I'm fearing here, that all we see is maybe Charlotte dragging Sasha's face onto the cell and maybe like a slight push on the cell or a big boot into the cell. I hope they actually take advantage of the cell and use it. Like I said, what I'm fearing is just because, it's the women's match, that they might tell them to take it a bit too lightly, not use a bunch of weapons. I hope they use the cell and I hope they use weapons. I'm looking forward to seeing what Sasha and Charlotte will pull off here. Afterwards, we've got Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the US title inside Hell in a Cell. This is Roman Reigns' second Hell in a Cell match, and I think it's going to be his second win inside the cell. I'm a fan of Rusev. I'd like to see Rusev actually win, get a big win like this. But unfortunately, I don't see that taking place. I see Roman Reigns beating Rusev once again. I just hope that after Rusev loses this match, that he doesn't go and start losing a ton of matches afterwards, like he did after losing to John Cena. And what sucks is there's not much room really for Rusev to go up after losing this, because the current champion is a heel in Kevin Owens. Speaking of Owens, when it comes to the Universal title match, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens inside Hell in a Cell. Gonna go with Owens on this one. I just don't see Seth Rollins winning the title until Triple H comes back and explains himself. Until then, I can't see Seth Rollins winning it and then Triple H being like, oh damn it, I've got to come back now to cost him the title once again or whatever. It's just, I feel like Kevin Owens is gonna hold on to that title at the very least until Triple H comes back, explains his action, whatever, has some interaction with Seth Rollins. So that's going to be it for my predictions. Now it's time for you guys to give me your predictions in the comments section below. I'll list all the matches in the description box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can click the like button. And with that said, I'm out. See ya.